for us. We sing it a lot.
What did your grandparents do?
My grandparents on both sides were farmers in Southwest Georgia. And on my father's side, they were renters, which means they rented the property, which means they decided what crops they would plant. They took the crops and to market. My father was taken out of school when he was after third grade to work in the fields. He was the oldest son. On my mother's side, it was my grandmother who was a sharecropper. And they paid, most time you pay sharecroppers 50% of what is left after. It's sort of like making a record. When you make a record, the musician has to pay all the studio costs, all the mastering costs, and all of that comes out of your royalties, which is actually a very little percentage of the income from what they sell the records. Well, with sharecropping, theoretically, on the farmer's side, you buy the seeds, you pay for the rental of the mule, the plows. Everything comes out of your side. It's supposed to be a 50% deal. Everything comes out of your side. But if you're a woman, it is not 50%, it's 1/3. And my mother's mother would move from one place to the next when the owner of the land thought she should pull her children out of school to work in the fields. And that's like two families, and they did different things. And my mother remembers moving 3 times in 1 year because of that.
You talk about your mother, your grandfather, your grandmother, your father. What about your children?
What about them?
The daughters of life longing for itself. That's right.
They're adults
say,
right
Carol?
now. They're adults. My children are adults, so I don't talk a lot about my children anymore, so they're grown. And one is very public, that's Toshi Regan, and Sweet Honey is involved in a special project. We produced a show celebrating our 30th year, which is called Evening Song. And Toshi was 9 when we started the group. And she's a musician. Her music, she's a rock musician. So you have a show produced that brings together Sweet Honey and the Rock a cappella in collaboration with Toshi Regan and Big Lovely, a rock band. And that's been a very exciting thing. So I talk about her. I have a son, Quan, and he's a cook. And I don't talk a lot about him because he's not public. But I tell people, you want to know about my children, check them out.
I ask about your children. You sing about children and about humanity and what happens with black people in this country in your song, Ella's Song. Right now, today, it just so happens in this week, something like $2 million something were just awarded to the Dorisman family. Patrick Dorisman, who was killed by police not far from here in Midtown Manhattan. When police came up to him as he came out of a lounge and asked him where drugs were, he said he didn't know, and why were they coming up to him, and they shot him. But that's just one example. We could come up with many examples every day. You sing to children, you talk about children and the plight overall of black women and their children in Ella's Song. Can you talk about when you wrote this?
It was the mid-'80s. It's written for Ella Baker, and she was an advisor for SNCC, the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, during the Civil Rights Movement. And we were young people, and it was very important for me as a young person to be respected by people who were twice my age and older. And she was one of those. She actually thought that young people had a way of looking at contemporary issues that was just very important to listen to and support. And it was not the same way she looked at those issues. And so in Ella's Song, this whole idea of thinking that the young were the point. The young are going to push the boundaries, but in order to do it, they have to be supported. I don't remember sitting in meetings where there weren't some gray-haired people present who would be like, every once in a while, bowing their heads like we were not out of our minds. And it's just important. It is important, because the more young people talk in the company of older people, sometimes she would ask a question, and sometimes she would make a sound, but basically she supported dialogue about what was happening, what we thought about it, and especially okay, so you know what the problem is, what are you going to do about it? It was very, very constructive and very healthy. And then when we got put in jail, older people put up their land to get us out. Now that's just major, major, major. And that relationship between, and usually it's like grandparent. You know, parents have a hard time with children. We just do the best we can. But grandparent to especially teenager, very, very important. And if I tell young people, if you don't have one, rent one. It doesn't have to be a blood thing. And I also tell young people, be sure you have more than one mother. You might have your birth mother, and then just look at her about her age. There's probably somebody else who is about her same age. When you can't stand to talk to her, you can talk to that other person. Just move around, just have a little catalog of mothers and fathers, and you know, it'll get you through to another level. And then all of a sudden you go back to your birth mother and you say, oh, she's cool. That doesn't mean she's cool, it means you're grown. You don't need her right now. You could be her friend. I'm just getting off the subject of Ella Baker, but I'm a storyteller. Okay, we're supposed to do Ella's song now, right? We believe in freedom cannot rest. We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes. We who believe in freedom, cannot rest. We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes. Until the killing of black men, black mother sons, is as important as the killing of white men, white mother son. And that which touches me most is that I had a chance to work with people, passing on to others that which was passed on to me. Everybody sing, we who believe in freedom cannot rest. We believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes. To me, young people come first. They have the courage where we fail. And if I can but shed some light as they carry us through the gate. And the older I get, the better I know that the secret of my going on is when the reins are in the hands of the young who dare to run against the storm. We who believe in freedom, in freedom, I hate. We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes. Not needing to clutch for power, not needing the light just to shine on me. I need to be just one in a number as we stand against tyranny. Then struggling myself don't mean a whole lot. I've come to realize that teaching others to stand up and fight is the only way my struggle survives. We believe in freedom, yeah, Lord, I hate. We believe in freedom.
Sweet Honey in the Rock. I want to thank you all very much for being here. I want to thank Dr. Bernice Johnson-Regan for today and for all of your years and what you've given all of us. I want to thank Izai Maria Barnwell,
Thank you.
Aisha Khalil, Carol Maylard, Nitanju Baladi Cassell, and thank you very much to Shirley Childress Johnson. For those who are listening on radio, you don't hear her, but she hasn't stopped from the beginning of this conversation. She's signing, and she, together with this quintet, make up Sweet Honey and the Rock. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Amy Goodwin, for your work. Thank you.
And that does it for our two-part Democracy Now! Special with Sweet Honey and the Rock. To get their tour information, go to www.sweethoney.com. We dedicate today's program to Sweet Honey's sign language interpreter, Shirley Childress Saxton. We're pleased to announce starting today Democracy Now!'s televised broadcasts and our closed caption live for the deaf and hard of hearing. Thank you to Democracy Now! Listener Molly Howard of the New Mexico School for the Deaf in Santa Fe, and Cynthia Karnick and her colleagues at the National Captioning Institute, and to Democracy Now!'s Dennis Moynihan and Mike DeFilippo for their help in bringing this important expansion of accessibility to Democracy Now! Tell your friends and family who benefit from closed captioning they can tune in to Democracy Now! On Free Speech TV, Dish Network Channel 9415, and over 70 public access TV stations around the country. To get more information on those, go to democracynow.org. To get a copy of today's show, call 1-800-881-2359. Democracy Now! Is produced by Chris Abrams, Mike Burke, Angie Karen Sharif, Abdul Qudus, Nana Nogaria. The special was directed by Uri Galet and edited by Elizabeth Press. Orlando Richards, Simba Russo, Gabriel Weiss, Mark Mallory, Ned Stein were on camera. Rafael Dela Uz did lighting. Mike DeFilippo, Johnny Sender, Rich Kim engineered. Thanks to Downtown Community Television. I'm Amy Goodman. Thanks for joining us.
I don't know why.